What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Slackers, bringing you guys our next matchup in the Everyone Is Here tournament. If you guys haven't seen it, it's a simple concept, 100 characters put into a tournament, and then we vote between one of the two characters in the matchup for the day. And by the way, I think we got a really interesting, I don't know, just hopefully this will just be very competitive in terms of the fan bases that show up. So you guys see the matchup. It's what, Lloyd Irving against Reimu, my apologies, but should be a fun matchup. But yeah, we vote between one of the two down in the comments, but voting's a part of the overall rules, so if you are new, there's a few more rules I need you to, I guess, understand before we go any farther. So let me put up the rules. And the rules are very straightforward, right to the point. Rule 1, this is for fun. Please keep that in mind when voting. What does that mean? Vote for whoever you want. Simple. If they're in the matchup, you can vote for them, regardless of their current situation. Vote for whoever you want. It's all cool. It's all good. It's all for fun. But you do only get one vote per person. Keep that in mind. I do check that when I tally up the votes. How does voting work, though? That's also very simple. Down in the comments, type the name of the character you are voting for. If you happen to really like both the characters, or you're just having a tough time deciding who to vote for, you can vote for both by simply typing the word both. Completely fine. The rest of the rules, though, double elimination tournament, meaning a character has to lose 2 times before being officially eliminated. And then once we get to the results to determine the winner and loser of each individual match, if there happens to be a tie in the votes, gotta flip a coin on camera, fairest way to break a tie. And each matchup, voting-wise, only lasts for just 1 week. So when an episode gets uploaded for the first time, you have 7 days to get your votes in. Otherwise, well, the vote just isn't going to count because we've already moved on. So speaking of moving on, these are all the rules. So moving on to the rest of the video. Alright, so let's go over the results from last week, which is a very entertaining matchup as well. Last week we had Rayman. We all know Rayman. Rayman was taking on Phoenix Wright, so pretty good characters. And who ended up winning this one? How close was it? It was no, it wasn't close at all. It wasn't even close. Not even an invisible arm length, whatever that means. It's supposed to be a Rayman joke. That was terrible. Don't laugh. Rayman ended up winning this one very convincingly, very easy. 78 votes for Rayman to just 24 votes for Phoenix Wright. So, what does this mean? Obviously, Rayman wins, moves on to the next round. Phoenix Wright, this is the winner's bracket portion. So, Phoenix Wright loses, he just drops to the loser bracket, still in the tournament. Still in the tournament. If you're a fan of him, don't worry. He's still got another shot. But if he loses again, then he's done. But for now, he's still here. So, congrats to Rayman. A lot of people showed up big time for him. So, that's the match, or that was the result, not the match. The match today, like I mentioned earlier, today's matchup is Lloyd Irving from the Tales of series, who happens to be taking on a juggernaut, the fan base as of late, just tearing through everybody. Reimu from the Toho project, and I got a really cool thing to kind of show and somewhat kind of break down for Reimu, but we'll start with Lloyd Irving. So, Lloyd Irving. Good old Lloyd, right? We all know the story. He's a Bandai character. A lot of people think Bandai's going to get a character in Smash Bros. A lot of people thought it was going to be Fighter Pass 1. That didn't happen. It's like, alright, why not? Where's his Mii costume then? I mean, Bandai works on Smash Bros. Yeah, that old story, right? Well, on the speculation to building up to Fighter Pass character number 5, on the first Fighter Pass, well, yeah, Bandai was supposed to get that character, and Lloyd, through leakers, whether you want to believe some of them or not, that's up to you, by, I guess, some sort of process of elimination, Lloyd was one of the most heavily speculated characters to be, FP5. We all know that didn't happen because Byleth was like, hey, Fire Emblem, what's up? And we're like, no, get that out of here. But then Byleth kind of turned out to be somewhat of a fun character, my opinion. But Lloyd, back to him. There's a huge fan demand for him. He's still very much wanted. Bandai, as a company, still deserves a second rep in Smash Bros. For all the help that they do with Nintendo and Smash Bros. I mean, come on. They deserve a second rep. Now, we touched on his Mii costume. Where's his Mii costume? Like, it just makes sense. If Bandai is going to get a character, I guess the Mii costumes that are missing from Bandai, I guess they would come with that character. It would kind of make sense, but you would have thought, because initially Fighter Pass 1 was planned to be the last DLC after character number 5 came out. That was supposed to be it. But then, luckily for us, Nintendo was like, you know what, nah. We're going to do a second Fighter Pass. Sorry, Sakurai. You'll get your vacation. I hope Nintendo lets you have your vacation. You more than deserve it, but Lloyd Irving, Mii costume still gone. All the Bandai costumes are gone. So it's kind of like, all right. If we didn't get them in FP5, if they didn't just kind of like chuck them in there and be like, oh yeah, hey, they're back, here they are. They're like the only ones that are still missing, aren't they? I don't think, well, maybe the Monster Hunter ones, and that's Capcom. But most, like all Bandai ones and maybe a couple other Mii costumes here and there are not back yet. Alright, so what does that really mean for any Bandai rep? I think that kind of gives them a little bit more hope, potentially. If their Mii costumes haven't come back, maybe they are saving it for a potential Bandai character reveal in Fighter Pass 2. Whether it happens to be Lloyd or Agumon or Hayachi or anybody from the Bandai company. Whatever it happens to be, I think that's where we'll most likely see him come back and make, because like that's kind of the thing, right? There's somewhat of a theme, if you will, for let's go with like Byleth, even though it had nothing to do with Byleth, but Ubisoft got a couple Mii costumes. We got the Rabbids one, and then we ended up getting the Altair. At first it was Smash Bros. X Altair, but they actually ended up changing that to Smash Bros. X Assassin's Creed, which is kind of cool. So it's kind of like Ubisoft is kind of, I guess, the main focus point of the Mii costumes. So that's kind of my point for, well, any Bandai ones. Whenever the next character comes out, whether it happens to be Bandai character or not, I think that at some point we'll probably see him back. I mean, it just makes too much sense, right? Bandai gets more recognition, more representation in Smash Bros. Even if it would just be Fighter Pass character Mii costumes, if that's all it was, I still think people are okay with that because, come on, let's face it. If we had them in Smash Wii U 3DS, why can't we have them in Smash Ultimate, right? That's the point of Smash Ultimate, to be the ultimate game of all time, right? In the Smash Bros. Series. I mean, we're at 80 characters. I don't know. I mean, Lloyd would be a fun character. I didn't really touch on the moveset, but we're this far in the tournament. Most of us know how Lloyd works. Dual swordsman. Be pretty unique. I know some people say Pit is like a dual sword user, but I don't really see that. Like, I don't really see Pit. Those are more like kind of like daggers, in my opinion. They're not actual swords. I mean, they kind of are, but like, the whole moveset for Lloyd would be really based around the dual swords. And I think there's so much you can really do to differentiate yourself. Yes, there's a lot of sword users on the roster, but again, in gaming, just history in general, there are so many characters that have swords. So having another sword character come into Smash Bros, probably a good chance. Maybe at least one more, but Lloyd, dual sword user, would be awesome. Tales of, he's been a highly requested character. Maybe Nintendo was like, alright, the fans have been clamoring for him. Maybe we finally go do it. So, who knows what Fighter Pass 2... I mean, yeah, we got ARMS, and that was such a random thing. Because I was thinking Fighter Pass 2 was going to be like something that Nintendo's like, alright, the fans were wanting this. But then, to be fair, a lot of people were speculating that an ARMS character is going to be on the base roster. So, is this Nintendo's way of saying, alright, you thought they're going to be on the base roster? Sorry, they didn't quite make it. So, we'll put him as DLC. Go ahead and buy him. That'd be kind of interesting. The whole ARMS thing is just weird, but I don't know. Let's move on to his opponent, though. I think Lloyd has a decent shot. I really do. No Mii costume. Maybe playable character is the next logical step. But what about Reimu? Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, somebody sent this to me on Twitter. I forget who you were. I have it on Twitter, I just don't have it on screen. But somebody sent me this link to Reddit, and somebody came up with a really awesome detailed breakdown of like moves and how Reimu, I always called her Reimu. I don't know why, but a few of you have been able to correct me because I asked you guys about that. Thank you guys for that. Reimu. So, how does she work? I'm just kind of reading here. I'm going to go over a few things in here, which seem pretty awesome. Mechanic. She has this, she could this is all speculation, potential, how she could work. Her mechanic, and that's the thing that all DLC characters have had so far. Some sort of mechanic, whether it's overall playstyle, whether it's a single move, whatever it might be. Some sort of mechanic. So I guess a mechanic she could have is called grazing, or graze, I should say. It'd be really interesting, like the way they describe it. Her power gauge, so she'd have like a, I guess, I don't know, is it like a meter that would kind of build up over her stock, I suppose? But power gauge increases whenever she gets close to a hitbox, and I'm going to leave the link to this in the description, so you want to check out the whole thing. I'm not going to go over the whole moveset, but this is some cool stuff here. Yeah, so Grace, whenever she gets close to a hitbox that doesn't connect, I guess this power gauge is going to end up filling up, and the bigger the power gauge is, the more stronger like attacks will end up becoming in the future. We've seen stuff like that with meter-based attacks, and it says like grazing, like sparks will appear to indicate when there's been a successful graze attack. So that's kind of cool, an indicator, which is awesome. One thing that I really liked, I've touched on this in past Reimu videos, but this one went into more details and a little bit different from how I imagined it. So neutral special, and this would be a phenomenal but maybe sort of broken, weird neutral special. So the yin yang orbs, right? I really like this. I guess it'd just be one yin yang orb. Basically, Reimu would summon this orb, right? But the way that this describes it, the orb, you would summon it, and then the orb just kind of like floats around and bounces all around the stage. Like it doesn't disappear, doesn't go away. Maybe if you attack it enough, maybe it will, but like it's something that would actually fly around. So say you're on, I don't know, Battlefield, for example. You're on the Battlefield stage, Reimu summons it, and she's like below one of the platforms. So the orb will hit the platform and just kind of keep bouncing all around. But a cool touch to this as well, the boundaries of the stage, you know how once you fly far enough off stage, you'll get the little screen in the upper corner of the map to let you know where you are. But the boundaries of the stage, the yin yang orb can actually bounce off of that and continue just flying around. So, and the way they described it, I don't know if I would agree with this, but the yin yang orb would do like tremendous damage. Oh, here we go. Yin yang orb would deal heavy damage and knockback upon contact. I don't know if I would agree with that for a constant, always floating around neutral spot. Like, that seems a little kind of broken. Maybe it depends on the move speed of how the yin yang orb. I mean, if it's like if it's pretty quick, then no, you're not doing that. But if it's kind of somewhat slow and just kind of takes its time, Reimu could end up using that to her advantage with other attacks, knocking her opponent into the orb, causing even more damage, kind of some really crazy, insane combos, which would be awesome, but I don't know. But another thing to the yin yang orb that I was kind of digging a little bit, Reimu could get damaged and take the knockback from the yin yang orb herself, which would be interesting. A move that would deal high damage and knockback, but if you're not careful when using it, your opponent can hit you into it as well, causing you to take all that damage, which would be, I don't know, that's kind of a cool concept for a character. There's like the way that I've been reading this, it'd be like a really big learning curve for the character, which is, there's a couple characters that are like, all right, if I want to truly enjoy how the character plays, there's a bit of a curve to how I'm going to have to learn to play the character, but the way that I've been reading this, yeah, there's going to be a bit of a learning curve, so, yeah, there's more on here. Again, I'll leave the link to this in the description. Another thing, down special. What do they call it? Duplex barrier, reflects projectiles and stuff. I don't know, like, it would be... This is some great detail. This is great detail. Look at that. Offensive, pretty average. Defensive, high. Speed, she's on the lower side. Recovery is, I guess, insane. And then she's on the lighter side as a character. But I guess the more that I read about Reimu and the potential and how she could work, I am kind of liking it. But I still think the yin yang orb, if you summon it and it does actually just kind of bounce around the stage the entire time, even if it can bounce off the boundaries, that could be a little bit broken. It'd have to be on the slower side for me to say, alright, that could be okay. Because if it's moving around somewhat fast, then that's just, the whole match is going to be chaotic. And then it's just not fun. And if a character's making the game broken and unfun, Get any of that out of here. No, don't ruin the game because you're biased towards one character. Don't make when you make movesets, you know, just don't make your character extremely overpowered, even though that's kind of what DLC characters have been. They're in the upper tiers. At least a few of them have been, you know, Joker. But I don't. For this one, Reimu's still kind of growing on me a little bit, but I don't know. She might have cracked my top 50 most wanted. I want to do a video, just my top 50 most wanted characters. But for this one, I'm actually going to vote Lloyd. I still like the character better. I know him a lot more. I don't know. I know the character better than I do Reimu, whatever. So let me know who you guys are voting for. Lloyd, Reimu, or both. All good options. That is it for this one. So sneak peek for tomorrow. The matchup for tomorrow. Okay. Matchup tomorrow, game 170. Lara Croft from the Tomb Raider series is back, and she is taking on Dr. Eggman Baldy McNosehair himself. That's the match, and then what do we got for the results tomorrow? I think it was Heavy Weapons Guy. Yes, Heavy Weapons Guy was taking on Paper Mario. We'll see who wins that one tomorrow. But that's tomorrow. Today's wrap it up. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully catch you on the next one. Peace out, everybody.